Hey there, Brady here with your daily tennis lesson. So we're looking at coaching styles this week. Again, I got my buddy Ian Westerman from Essential Tennis here with me. Super pumped to have you here again.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
We're going to look at the two-handed backhand today, and I think there are definitely, especially me, not having a two-hander. I defer to a lot of guys like yourself and Mark to kind of get everything that I think is important for a player to get a good two-hander. First thing I want to talk about is just that take-back, that backswing. I want to go to you first. What do you think are a couple of just the essentials on a two-hander getting that racket back?
Yeah, for me, the most important part, and it's pretty universal across all strokes for me, personally, I want to see most of the energy always coming from the big parts of the body. So when I see a two-handed backhand player taking the racket back with the hands, like pretty much detached from the body, I always get really worried that later on in the stroke, they're also going to be using kind of just the arms to hit the ball. So I'm a big proponent of mostly focusing on the torso and the core to create the take back, and not being so focused on like what the hands necessarily are doing on their own.
Love that. Okay, totally agree. And you guys can see when you do that, Ian, go ahead and do that again. What I love about this, the racket to me in the player's hand always looks so light and just an extension of the arms when the body is supporting that take back. And it looked heavy when you just took it up with your arms, right? A player would have to have an 8-ounce racket to make that feel good. Okay, so totally agree. I think we're on the same page there. Big unit turn, get that chest rotated out to that left side as a right-hander. Left-handers going the opposite way. Let's talk about the size of the take back, because I know for a fact I love the look of the tip of the racket up, but I don't necessarily love to see players' elbows go high when they're taking the racket back with a two-hander. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I totally agree. You'll see exceptions to this on the Pro Tour, but more so on the low end. Like you'll occasionally see a world-class player go from a ready position right to a low position with the hands.
A la Venus Williams.
Yeah, right. But you won't really see players extend up with the elbows or with the hands much higher than the ready position. Occasionally, like Andy Murray will bring his hands up a little bit higher than where he started with ready position. But a Novak Djokovic will start in his ready position and just make a rotational move with his core. So either way, the vast majority of them start with the racket head up, and that just allows them to build more energy and momentum through the swing by dropping the racket head before the ball gets there, which I'm a huge proponent of for sure. Yeah,
so where we look at that forehand, and I think we both love kind of the idea of more of a C shape on the forehand, not so much a C on the backhand, but the tip up position as it drops down below the ball can almost be a little miniature version of that, just in the hands more so.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So once we've engaged that take back, the upper body and the lower body have synced in to get that racket back, we're looking at now extending out to the ball. And the thought of extension, I think, is where a lot of club level players have heard from a coach, oh, but Brady, he's told me this, she's told me this. Swing up, get the racket up to your shoulder. And so in an abbreviated route with the ball barely getting in the way of the stroke, they're getting to this position that they've heard's right, and they're losing out on the feeling of extension.
Yeah, and it's a huge mistake and a very common one. And I think it kind of goes back earlier to how we were talking about the hands getting disconnected from the body. If the stroke starts that way, then it's very, very likely that they're going to continue the rest of the swing without the body, which in turn leads to a weak contact position that's much further back, and then a very tight, close to the body follow through. If the body is what initiates the swing to begin with, and it also initiates the forward swing, then it's much, much more likely that the hands actually clear the body, get out in front, which then in turn leads to much more likelihood that the arms are going to extend and flow kind of out towards the target.
Yeah.
So for me, it kind of all comes back to the body. How engaged is it? Is it leading the swing, or is it following and trailing what the hands and the arms are doing?
Right. I mean, you and I can talk shop on this. I think some there want to see this stuff in action. So before we get to follow through, let's take a look at Joel's two-handed backhand here. Take a peek at his take back and how he extends on the ball. Pretty good unit turn there. Oof. Racket looking comfortable in the hands. Wow, Joel. Pretty good. So Joel, you definitely hit a little bit of a flatter two-hander.
Yeah, for me, a lot of times, not to beat a dead horse, but a lot of times that flatter, straighter trajectory is because the hands start taking over really soon.
Yeah.
And so they never have the opportunity to really drop into a slot position. So I'd also kind of suggest focusing more on like the body doing more of the work and the hands being a little more passive and relaxed to hopefully get a little bit lower instead of going so laser straight.
I'd say this too, Joel, like, Ian, you might agree with this. Most shots that are going to occur around the baseline where you're hitting all these from would be more towards like an on the rise type feel, which I think is meant to be struck a little bit flatter and a little more penetrating. So you might benefit from spacing back off the baseline some to allow time for the hands to get a little more under the ball.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything that helps Joel feel like he has the ability to create a little bit more drop, I think would be a good thing. Yeah, so a couple things to experiment with.
Yeah. All right, so let's go into the kind of finishing part of this stroke, the follow through. I feel like two-handed backhands, a little more cookie cutter. I like to see the racket touch the back side of the right shoulder. What I don't love is as a player tries to do that is, again, seeing the arms kind of rest a little too close to the body because the tip of the racket tends to stay straight up. So I'll make players kind of take a peek. If that racket's straight to the sky, I try to get them a little more off the body so that that racket head can rest behind that back shoulder.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think that's smart because so much emphasis has been put on the over-the-shoulder position, and you can totally arrive at an over-the-shoulder position with that chicken wing kind of contact point and lack of extension. You can still technically get over the shoulder. Over the years, when I was growing up, they're used to taking lessons. There used to be a big emphasis on like pointing the butt cap towards the target.
Yep.
And these days, when you see world-class two-handed players, very frequently, you'll see actually like 90 degrees, almost kind of like a golf, like follow through or finish.
Don't get me all excited. Let's not. We can't go golf right now.
Because they've extended so much, and there's so much space between the body and the arms and the racket.
Great point.
There's just a big circle that happens. So I like that you kind of emphasize the back.
Yeah,
I think it's big.
I think the butt cap facing forward now is kind of the minimum, and anything past that's a bonus.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a peek, Joel. A couple more backhands. See if a little more space off the baseline can help you, and we'll take a peek at the follow-through.
Oh.
Really nice.
Oh, well, a little more shape
yeah, Mark,
on these.
let's maybe
sudden.
get that feed slightly deeper. Oh.
Look at that.
Joel. Wow. How's that feel?
Oh, it felt free.
Okay.
Nice.
Really, really good.
So why do you think he started to create a little bit more shape with the longer follow-through?
Well, to your point, the hands got down a little bit better. And to my point, it could be the addition of some space between you and the bounce that allows you mentally the feeling that you have time.
Awesome.
Right?
Great.
All right, good stuff right there.
Hey, nice job, man.
All right, so you got a great book coming out. You know, you've done so much content on the internet, such good video making, all that great stuff. What were the challenges or the biggest challenge of putting stuff into print?
Yeah, I think the hardest, well, let me kind of start with the opposite. The easiest topics to convert over to literature, like a real kind of book format, was mental toughness, more philosophical, psychological topics fit pretty easily. And then on the flip side, the hardest parts were the really technical, kinetic, like the stuff that I felt like I can't write a tennis book without leaving out some kind of description about how to use the body efficiently and effectively, how to use the body and minimize the arms so that they can be loose and free and relaxed. That's where Joel really came in huge with his writing background and how good of a storyteller he is. He drew out of me much more detail about those technical things than what I'm normally used to having to explain, just so that it worked well in a book format.
Always learning. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so that's all we got for you today. Hope that was super helpful. Please click like below this video, and if you have not subscribed to our channel yet, please do so, as well as check down below me in the description of this video. You'll find the link to 3 free courses Mark and I have put together. I think you'll find those really helpful as well. Looking forward to more to come this week with you, but until then, be well. We'll see you soon at Daily Tennis Lesson.